starting our little podcast here called Golden Talk Sports. So, Justin, how did this idea come up for us to give this a try?
Well, both of us really like our sports and our different opinions on multiple things.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
lot.
yeah, it helps us go back and forth really well between one another when talking about sports. And both of us usually provide facts, just so it's usually a good conversation. So we thought, why not record it and see how it goes?
Yeah, I agree. Also, a bunch of our friends like listening to us bicker about the Ravens and the Chiefs, henceforth why we're going to the game on September 5th. So we just figured, you know what, start this for fun and see what happens.
Revenge for the AFC Championship game incoming.
100% not. So, I think our topic of conversation today is like a lot of people you're going to see on YouTube. Predictions for the upcoming season since the first game is going to be September 5th. Like I said, we're going to. So I'm going to let Justin kick it off on his thoughts on last season, the standings, and then we will both get into our predictions of what we think the divisions are going to look like this year. And by the end of the video, we're ultimately going to pick our playoff winners and Super Bowl champions. So how do you think the season went last year, aside from the fact that my team knocked out yours in the AFC Championship?
Honestly, from a Ravens perspective, I was incredibly happy with the season that we had last year. We had a little gauntlet there towards the end of the season where we just played nothing but MVP candidates, terrific teams, and we ran through them all. It's kind of what we did. It's what we do. The didn't end on the best note. AFC Championship game didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Sure went, sure went the way I wanted it to. So
It started off so poorly. We just let you guys drive it down our throat. Travis Swift just had like two straight drives of just domination. And he is one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end of all time. You can argue it. Both sides are valid at this point, honestly. Second half, we came out blazing.
better,
I
way
thought
better.
our defense was spectacular in the second half, and we were like 4 inches away from it being a 17-14 game if
Yeah,
Zay Flowers didn't get it punched out. But that being said, it was a great play by your cornerback. I can't remember who it was.
Sneed, L'Jarius Sneed.
It's who I thought it was, but I didn't want to give him too much credit. But
Yeah. So, like most people are wondering, and I know we talked about this when we have watched the Super Bowl at your house, was the Super Bowl a hit or a miss?
the first half of the Super Bowl was a snooze fest. Nothing happened in the first half of the Super Bowl. The most exciting part of the first half was the first half ending, knowing that the halftime show was about to start.
Yeah, I agree. Who performed again? Usher?
Yeah, it was Usher, and he came
Yeah.
out on rollerblades for a little bit there, which was interesting and all. But hey, yeah.
It wasn't like a couple of years ago when Shakira was performing. I can say I very much like that halftime performance a lot better than Usher's.
And she
So,
brought out J Lo.
yep, it was a good show. It was a
Oh,
very good show. No, I would have to agree with you. I really thought you guys were going to beat us in the second half. You guys came out blazing. Our offense, like most of the year, couldn't really do much. And at least we started off hot. The Super Bowl for me was a miss for most of the game, but I do think the last like 10 minutes, including overtime, were fantastic. It seems like both teams just figured things out and were marching down the field and scoring. It wasn't touchdowns, but it was field goals, but it kept the game interesting. So, like many of the pundits, like Stephen A. Smith, so on and so forth, think the Chiefs are going to three-peat this year. What are your thoughts? Can they be beat?
Well, anybody can be beat. The thing with NFL, injuries are such a thing, but I'm gonna speak like that. No injuries are gonna happen because I don't want any injuries to happen. I hate seeing that, even though I
Same.
don't like the Chiefs. I don't want any injuries. Anything can happen, so no injuries, no nothing. You guys probably have the best roster in the league. You have the best quarterback, and I'll say that as a Ravens fan. It's true. Like there's nothing I can say to argue it. They're both the two-time MVP, but obviously Mahomes has everything else. Your offense looks phenomenal. You're going to miss Marquise Hollywood for
1 week, maybe 2.
1 or 2 weeks. We'll see how the injury plays off. God, the new rookie that you guys got is basically just Tyreek Hill, a little bit bigger. He's so quick.
Do not know how the Bills let us draft him, but I'm pretty happy they did, especially after last night in the preseason, seeing the long balls back because it's been missing.
I
But
still can't believe they freaking made Mahomes play in the preseason. Like,
yeah,
what does
I
he
know.
have to play for?
I
But
know. I know.
yeah,
But we got to see that behind the back pass, which I don't think we'll ever see in the regular season game. So that was pretty cool.
you better not pull that in week 1. I'm telling you, Roquan's coming down the pipe and taking off Travis Kelce's head. I swear to God.
I hope not. I don't want to see any injuries in that game. I just want to see a high scoring game. No defense because it's the first week of the season, just all offense, pedal to the metal. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping for that too, just so I can cheer in some Chiefs fans' face. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Though.
Yeah, I don't know if people like you very much. I'm gonna make sure when we're walking around that tailgate, people bully you because you're gonna be wearing the Ravens jersey. Finally, I'm with my people. Anytime I've seen them play, it's been away games. Oh, because we forgot to mention, we're both from Canada, so going to NFL games is quite challenging. We got to travel a lot of the time.
Yes,
So normally it relies on if they play in Buffalo, because that's closest for both of us. If one of our teams goes, we'll go watch them there. But we decided to take the road trip this year. So without further ado, I believe we should get into the first premise of this video here, which would be talking about our division winners. So let me go to the tab here, 2024 division. Who we think's going to win. I should get a notepad, and I'm going to write down, I can't remember. I'm going to write down basically who we think is going to win, who we think our wild card teams are going to go. We can go from there and then predict the Super Bowl because I got a little bit of a bracket here. I know this was last year's. Couldn't find the most recent one, but it is what it is. So I'll kick it off with you. Let's start off with the AFC East. As you can see on the screen here, we got Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. Who do you think wins that division and why?
Do you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, or just the division winner?
Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 because we want to encourage the viewers to maybe add their thoughts as well. So because they might be thinking something different. Like who knows, someone might choose the Patriots to win the division. I highly doubt Drake May's going to lead them to that, but you never know. You never know.
I hope nobody picks the Patriots to win the division.
Yeah, me either. So what's your thoughts here?
I can't see anything where the Patriots aren't last in their division. To be honest, I think it's going to be similar to last season between the Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Towards the end of the year, it's going to be it's going to break off into almost a 2-horse race for the division. For their division title. The Jets will hang in there for a little bit there, but as much as I don't want to hate on Aaron Rodgers because he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I have to see what he does this year. Like I have to see it. He hasn't played football now in, what is it, almost 2 years now? A year and a half?
Yeah, because he got injured the first 4 plays.
He is an older dude, and he was never a mobile quarterback. Fantastic at throwing the ball, pocket presence, amazing. But I'm just scared if he gets hit, like what's going to happen? So if he can stay healthy, it will become a 3-horse race towards the end of the year.
Yep.
But if his health starts to deteriorate, his play starts to deteriorate towards the end of the season, because it is a long, grueling season.
Yeah.
I can see them finishing third with like a 9-8 record, something along those lines. Bills probably it's going to be like a 12-5 Bills and probably an 11-6 Dolphins, similar to last year. Honestly, actually no, scratch that. 11-6 Bills, 10-7 Dolphins. The Bills winning 12 games. Maybe.
Yeah, so I'd have to say I agree with you. For most of this offseason, I've been on the New York Jets hype train. But now that I got thinking about it, I don't really believe in them. So I'm going to say they probably finish third. I think you and I can both confidently agree the Patriots aren't doing anything this year. I got them last place. I got the Jets finishing with probably a 9-8 record, 10-7 maybe. I too, like you, have the Buffalo Bills, surprising a lot of people because I know a lot of people don't think they're going to be that good this year. Losing Stephon Diggs, who else? Micah Hyde, so on and so forth on defense.
Jesus.
I think they're going to be good. I think this is going to be a year that Josh Allen proves that he didn't need Stephon Diggs, and he is actually the reason why that team's quite good. So I got them finishing 11-6 as well. and give me the Dolphins finishing 10-7. I think it's going to, like you said, come right down to the end of the season. Whatever one of those teams wins in a head-to-head matchup ends up clinching that division. So I think we're the same there. Do you have the Dolphins or the Jets making the wild card then?
Well, with the thing with the AFC is it's so tough. There's going to be like at least 2 or 3 teams with like the same record at the end of the season, and that record is going to be like a 10-7, which is a good record to have. Yeah. And so honestly, depending on who doesn't win the division, so the second place team there fighting for the wild card spot, however their tiebreakers go with the other wild card teams, because you just know that like 2 or 3 teams are going to have a 10-7 record or something along those lines. So I would like to say I could see the Miami Dolphins in this scenario in the playoffs as well as a wild card team this year, but there's just so many good teams in the AFC now. It's so hard to tell who's going to win the tiebreakers for the wild card spots. Yeah,
I agree. Let's get into your favorite division, the one that we argue about constantly every single time we talk. The
best division in football. I mean, it's
battle-tested AFC North. So I'll start it off with you. What's your predictions?
Well, it's the best division in football for a reason, and it's so hard to predict just because anybody can beat anybody in that division, and majority of the games end within 5 points. And I feel like even if I say 5 points, that's too much of a spread. Yeah. Most of them are kick the field goal to win, walk-off touchdowns to win by 2 kind of thing. Like, the AFC North is a battle. It is an absolute battle. That being said, I do like my Ravens to win the division again, but just by the skin of their teeth kind of thing. Like, I can see if we're going to predict records again, Ravens are going to be like an 11-6 team, Bengals 10-5.
Yeah.
And honestly, like Cleveland and Pittsburgh could both easily win 9 games, and all the tiebreakers in between the division everybody could finish 3-3. It's an insane division. All the defenses are fantastic. The Bengals obviously have the most stacked offense. It's one of the best offenses in the league. Joe Burrow coming back from an injury. He is the factor as to why they could win the division or 100%. The Baltimore's division. If he plays like, Joe Burrow can play, Cincinnati could very well win the division. I'm not going to sit here and act like they can't.
Yeah.
They did very well last year with, I think his name's Jake Browning, I think his name was.
The Washington boy. Yep.
Yeah, he did well. They did well. They just have a good team. The thing that is a little iffy for me is the whole franchise tag for T. Higgs.
Yeah.
I think he's a wide receiver 1 on 90% of teams.
Yeah.
And he probably knows that himself. Probably thinks he deserves a wide receiver 1 kind of bag.
Yep.
So he's either going to show out this year or he's going to play with a little bit of like you guys didn't want to pay me kind of thing. So I'm not going to perform as well as I could, but he's a professional. He shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
But his defense is so good.
I know. So I'm going to keep it simple. I agree with you here too. I think Ravens win that division. I'm going to give them a 12-5 record. They're a very good team. I think the signing of Derrick Henry just solidified them as an even better team. Losing PQ, and I know that's a soft spot for you, I think is massive, but your defense is fantastic. So I think you guys will be A-okay. But I really think Derrick Henry is a game changer for you guys. Bengals, as a Chief fan, they're a rival right now. They're a great team. Joe Burrow is a fantastic quarterback. Jamar Chase, great wide receiver. Their defense is pretty stout. T. Higgins, like you said, I think he'll ball out this year because he wants to get paid elsewhere. I think he wants to play for a different team, but I think he'll put up some numbers. I got them finishing 11-6 as a wild card team. Give me the Browns as 3rd. I got them finishing 10-7 as a wild card team as well. Steelers, I mean, Mike Tomlin always helps those guys. You know damn well they're going to have it better than a 500 record again.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, so give me 9-8 for them. And my bold prediction for this division is halfway through the season, Jameis Winston's going to be the starter for the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh, that is good.
Yeah.
That's good. What's Deshaun going to be doing?
Backup. I think he's going to be like he was the last 2 years. Obviously, he didn't play because of the suspension. Then this year, that came past. he got injured, didn't play that well in the games that he did start. I really think Jameis Winston's going to resurrect his career and turn into a Joe Flacco type situation for the Browns and lead them into the playoffs. And I've always had like a respect for Jameis Winston, so I hope to see him do well. But at the same time, I would like to see Deshaun Watson resurrect his career as well, because watching him play before all that drama came out was fun. He was a special talent, so I really hope he does well. Pretty easy division to predict here. I would take a guess is the AFC South. What do you have going on here?
I would think it's easy too. However, I don't think it's as easy as majority of people think.
Yeah.
Because Jacksonville may have fallen off a little bit, and Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and say he's elite yet.
Yep.
He's a very good quarterback. He was the number 1 overall pick for a reason. He has the capability to carry a not as good roster of last year, 2 wins. He does have that capability. I could see Jacksonville finishing second. I think it's pretty obvious that Houston's finishing first, bar like injuries, or honestly, I don't know how toxic Stephon Diggs actually is in the dressing room.
That's a big question too.
You know, they had 2 stellar wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think that they would have been more than fine without Stephon Diggs, but obviously adding Stephon Diggs to that offense is just like
killer.
It's greedy, but like CJ Stroud, so he can really pass that ball. He's got like that Joe Burrow kind of accuracy where it's just on a rope when you need it, where you need it. Stephon Diggs is a perfect route runner for that. They had a play yesterday where it was just like a simple little slot route for Stephon Diggs. He slanted right past his quarterback. As soon as he got in front of his quarterback, that ball was in his hands from CJ Stroud, and it was perfect. They got the first down. And if they can continue to build on that, as well as having Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Joe Mixon now to add to that offense, they could be challenging for the first place in the AFC, let alone the division. They are a solid team. And go ahead.
Do you think CJ Stroud is going to experience a sophomore slump? A lot of the NFL analysts are worried about that. I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to be a sophomore slump. I think he's going to be basically on par with what he did last year, just a little bit more mature in the pocket with his presence, with his plays. And he already was like mature. He already looked like a 3rd or 4th year vet in the NFL last year.
Yep.
I can't see a sophomore slump, but I can't see anything like spectacular also coming out of it, like more spectacular than he already has been kind of thing. I don't see a slump coming. And if it does happen, year 3, he's coming back running the league. Like he's going to smoke. But I think they're good. I do like the Colts as well.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson has potential to be fantastic. He's big, can really throw a good ball. Spiral's solid, and he can run, create multiple plays. And coming from the Lamar Jackson point of view, that really screws up defenses when you have to worry about that.
Yep.
It's just an additional thing. So we'll go Houston. Honestly, I think Houston could be my 12-5 team here. I think Houston's fantastic, and I will go Jacksonville at like 9-8, Colts at like 8-9, and then honestly the Titans. I'm sorry to the Titans, but after losing King Henry, they don't have much going for them.
Yeah, they did pick up Pollard, which could be a benefit to them, but who knows?
Tony Pollard last year was just not the Tony Pollard of the year before, which everybody thought he was going to have a breakout season last year, which is why Dallas didn't keep him, because it did last year. But I don't know. I can see Tennessee going like, at best, like 6-11, honestly, maybe. 7-10, I feel is generous.
I'd agree. So I'm going to change it up a bit here. I still got the Texans finishing first. I got them at like 12-5 as well. Instead of Jacksonville second, give me Indianapolis. I believe Anthony Richardson's going to prove the haters wrong this year. A lot of people think he's not going to be as good as he's projected to be, but I think that guy's just a raw talent, and he's going to put that team on his back. Give me them at 10-7, Jacksonville 9-8, and I got Titans at 7-9. And so I have both the Bengals and the Browns making the wild card. Honestly, I might sneak Indy in there. I think they're going to be the third wild card team. So now my favorite division, your least favorite division, AFC West.
I'll let you talk about your division, and then I will say afterwards why it's my least favorite division so I can explain myself.
Yep, and that's when the argument starts, but maybe we'll leave that for another video. I think we can both agree here Kansas City's winning that division. No ifs, ands, or buts. I got them either being 12-5 or 13-4. I think they could lose to Baltimore week 1. I could see them losing to Buffalo because Buffalo last year got pretty hot near the end of the season. They're meeting up in November, and they tend to lose to Buffalo in regular season games, but beat them when it matters in the playoffs. So I could see them losing a game there, maybe a division game like the Chargers. I hope not, but you never know. Give me Chargers second. I think Justin Herbert will be pretty good. We'll have to see what Harbaugh does with that team. I got them being like 9-8. Give me Raiders third. I have them being like an 8-9 team, maybe a 9-8 team, just positive. And give me Broncos fourth. I don't think they're going to be as bad as a lot of people are expecting them to be. Like a lot of people are projecting them to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I could honestly see them getting off 6 wins because Bo Nix is looking pretty good in the preseason right now, and he has no expectations. All the other guys that were drafted higher than him, like Caleb Williams and such, they got expectations. He was drafted late, and he went into a system where Russ really didn't do much with them, new coach and all that good stuff. So I think he's going to go out and just play some ball and actually do decent. So I got them winning like 6 games. And now, time for you to talk about the AFC West.
Okay, so my biggest pet peeve with the AFC West, and again, it's just strictly, it doesn't help the fact that my team, the Ravens, play in the toughest division by far.
Yep.
I always think it's so, I can't say it's unfair because it is what it is kind of thing, but I feel like the Chiefs are almost handed 6 W's at the beginning of each year just solely on the fact that they play these 3 teams.
Yeah.
I get it. The Chargers have potential, but with the Chargers, their offensive coordinator is Greg Roman, and his offensive schemes are just not flashy, they're honestly not even that efficient either, and he loves the run game, and both of their running backs are old Raven running backs.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins is like incredibly injury prone, which is sad. I loved J.K.
Yeah.
And Gus Edwards, I think, is a fantastic pickup. But that being said, Gus Edwards will never break for like 80-yard touchdowns. He's big on the goal line. He's called Gus Bus for a reason. Yeah. But the thing is, they have to get down to the goal line to do that. I couldn't name you a wide receiver on the Chargers past Josh Palmer. Mm-hmm. I don't know anyone. Yes, Harbaugh's fantastic. But Greg Roman running that offense, I can't see anything happening. The Denver Broncos is a rebuild team. That's 2 free wins for the Chiefs, I believe.
Yep.
Honestly, the only team that I really think could actually steal a win, surprisingly, is the Las Vegas Raiders. They played you guys so hard last year. It was actually really fresh to watch somebody in your division actually like not just bow down to the Chiefs and Mahomes. I really enjoyed watching that last year. And they have a running back who I think is going to have a really good season. I believe his name is Zamir White.
Yeah, it is. Zamir White.
He is, I think he's going to be special, and he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit because of the team he's on. Their quarterback situation is their quarterback situation. It is what it is. They have Devontae Adams, though, who's, again, like, he's a superstar. Give him a competent quarterback, he gets you 1,000+ yards, probably 7-8 touchdowns, like 100 catches. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. There's no issue there. And they have the game record and Max Crosby too. So I don't mind the Raiders to finish second in your division, shockingly.
Yeah.
But I have Denver last, and obviously the Chiefs winning that, not even particularly close. The Chiefs will probably have that division in their bag by like week 11. I think.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. So we'll finish off the AFC here. So I'll give a quick rundown of who I got, and then you got to pick your wild card team. So I got Chiefs winning the AFC West, give me the number 1 seed for them. I got Texans winning AFC South, give me the number 2 seed for them. I got the AFC North, Ravens winning that. Honestly, I'd say I gave them 12-5, 11-6, give or take. Give me the number 3 for them. Bills winning their division, give me the number 4. For wild card teams, I got Bengals, Browns, and Colts. I'm going to keep it exactly like that. Bengals 5, Browns 6, and Colts 7.
I like that a lot. I like all those standings. The only thing I want to say, like, it's so hard to say because, like I just explained, you guys get 6 free wins basically. I want to say Houston can take number 1 in the AFC. So for conversation's sake, they're going to be my number 1.
Okay.
AFC team is the Houston Texans at 12-5, I believe I said. Yeah. I can put the Chiefs at 12-5 as well, but I don't know. Somehow, some way, the Texans are going to be the number 1. That's just my prediction. Number 3, I will go with the Baltimore Ravens as well. And number 4, the Buffalo Bills. They will have the same record. Baltimore takes a tiebreaker somehow. Again, I'm not entirely sure how they do it. Yep. My wild card teams are going to be the Bengals at 5, Dolphins at 6, and then I'm going to probably I'm going to go Miami. I think Miami's going to be the last wild card team.
So, going to correct you there. You chose Dolphins at 6. You got to choose a different team at 7.
Sorry. I said Bengals at 5, Dolphins at 6.
Yep.
Okay, my bad. Bengals at 5, Dolphins at 6, Cleveland at 7.
Okay, I rock with it. All right, we'll quickly go through the NFC here because we got some other predictions. I know you got to get back to work soon. And we're at about 26 minutes here. So NFC East, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Commanders. Me, I'm big on the Eagles this year. I really think that Saquon pick was fantastic. I don't think he's going to get many touchdowns, so if any of you guys are looking at picking him on fantasy, do it. He's going to get you yards, but I think as long as they're within the 3-yard line, Jalen Hurts is getting the ball for the touchdown, so maybe stay away from that because I've thought about drafting him. Give me Cowboys too. I still think they're going to be a good team, but there is some drama in the background. Obviously, with CeeDee Lamb not signing yet and not showing up to training camp, and Dak wants a big contract. I think Dak's going to have a pretty good year, actually, because he's fighting for that big contract. So give me Eagles at 11-6, Cowboys at 10-7. I'm going to throw a curveball here. I think Jaden Daniels is going to help the Washington Commanders quite a bit this year. Give me them at 8-9, and give me the Giants at 6-11.
I agree, except I have Dallas winning the division. I do like Dallas if they can figure out the CeeDee Lamb situation. That's my big if.
Yep.
If they can get that done, I really like Dallas. I like their defense. I like their offense. They just have a certain way about them. They play well. They're always good. Dak is a good quarterback. He gets a lot of grief, but that comes with the title of being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
Yep.
He was in the MVP conversation with Lamar up until probably like week 14, 15 of last year. Like, he was in it. He's
balling.
He's a baller. But like you said, it's a contract year. He's going to try. But when you try and do too much, that's when you tend to make unnecessary mistakes. Yep. And he's also very known for that. But I like them. I think Micah Parsons is fantastic. I think he's a game wrecker. I think he can make plays towards the end of the game that just shuts down offenses, and I think it's perfect. The Eagles, I do have them finishing second. I do agree Saquon is a fantastic pickup for them, and also don't take him in fantasy for the touchdown perspective because they love their tush push. Yep. I think they lost some key pieces on their line there, though. And I have yet to see Jalen Hurts not with that kind of offensive line, like the top tier offensive line, not going to break, has all the time in the world. He is a good thrower, but he makes too many mistakes when he's forced to throw the ball. And I think teams know that, and I think teams will prep their defense for that. I think he's going to make mistakes that will cost them games. So I have Dallas finishing 12-5.
Okay.
I'll put the Eagles at honestly like 10-7. The Eagles, and I completely agree with Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be obviously Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams, but I
Yep.
think Jaden Daniels is like also is legit.
Special.
I think
Yeah.
he's legit. I think he can run an offense. He looks very good. He's a better thrower than I gave him credit for, and I could see them winning like 8 games. I can see them going 8-9, and then the Giants. I don't know.
Daniel Jones. That's all I gotta see.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. Like I just don't get it. I'm waiting for him to prove me wrong, but it's been too long where I can't make this opinion. He's just not it. And they're finishing like 6-11.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think this is gonna be a really tough division to pick. I like the Lions, but we're doing the NFC North here. I'll go through it quickly. I got the Lions winning that division, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win. Give me the Lions at also probably 12-5. I'm going to do the Packers at 11-6, getting into the playoffs for me. So far, my 2 wildcard teams in this division would be the Cowboys and the Packers. Vikings, I don't know what I trust with Sam Darnold, so I'm going to have them at 4. But I don't think they're going to have a bad season. Give me like 9-8. And honestly, give me the Bears at 9-8 too. I think they're going to be a good team, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next year. This year, my apologies. I think next year's the year that they're going to take a big step. I do see Caleb Williams having a good season, but I just don't see them in the playoffs yet. So I'm going to keep it simple. Give me Lions first, Green Bay Packers take a wild card spot.
I like that too. I like the Lions winning that division. I think, although they just lost Gibbs for a bit there.
Yep.
I think that they do need to find a running back to fill that slot in. Granted, they're not going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think that their offense, just as a whole, is just so solid.
Yep.
They have probably a top 3, probably 4 tight end in the league. I'm being a little biased towards Mark Andrews here, but I think Sam Laporta is legit. I think he's a fantastic tight end, and obviously they got Amon-Ra, he's legit too. He got the bag for a reason. He knows what he's doing. He can run routes. He's so good. He's so good at catching that ball.
Yep.
He's reception monster. He's a reception monster. Anyways, past the Lions, their defense is good too. Their offensive line is, I think they ranked it the best in the league. They have such a good offensive line. You're not getting to Jared Goff easily. It's going to be a tough day for that defensive line, whoever's lining up against him. I do agree with you on the Chicago Bears. I don't think that they are going to be this like 11-7, 12-5 team that I've heard from a lot of people. I think Caleb Williams is fantastic. I've only seen preseason and college highlights, but like his movement, pocket presence, escapability, throwing on the run is all top tier.
Yep.
That being said, I have to see how he plays in the dark months of the football, the second week past November towards the end of the season when like the boys come out to play. The boys go to bed, the men come out to play. That's what I want to see. Till then, I don't think they're a playoff team just yet. I have Green Bay second in their division too. Jordan Love looks fantastic. I think they got it right, whatever they do in Green Bay, making their draftees or draft picks sit for a couple years to watch because it works. He looks good. Offense looks good. And like similar to the point with the Chicago Bears, he knows how to play in those kind of conditions. He played so well in the playoffs. He was great. And the Vikings, like they just lost their rookie QB for the season.
Yeah, McCarthy.
I don't want to see any of that. At least give the kid a chance, kind of thing. But I would have Detroit at. Honestly, Detroit might be my 13-4 team. I like Detroit a lot.
Yeah, they're good.
I like them a lot. I put Green Bay at like 11-6, and then Chicago at 9-8. 9-8 is a respectable, possibly 8-9, and then Vikings. I don't even know. Maybe it sounds so bad, but like 4-13 kind of thing, like 5. Like I just can't see how they get wins. Like I just can't. Like they have Jettas, but like, you know.
And they lost a lot of players. JJ McCarthy injured. Jordan Addison, unfortunately, was carted off out of practice. He's injured. TJ Hawkinson is on the pup list still. So I don't know. I really don't know. But you never know. Sam Darnold could ball out. He was good in college. It just takes that one flip of a switch, the right coach, and Kevin O'Connell is a good coach. But yeah, I don't see them winning too much.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield at Tampa is a good example of something like that. But again, you got to see it. Like it has to just happen. No one predicts that kind of thing, you know?
Well, that was a great segue, partner, because now we're into the NFC South, and you're just talking about Baker Mayfield. Honestly, man, I think the Falcons are going to be good, but give me the Bucs to still win that division. I've always had a respect for Baker Mayfield. I love that guy. I want to see him succeed. I still think this division is going to be a joke like it normally is. I got the Bucs winning that division at 10-7. I got the Falcons. They're going to be good. I think Kirk's going to play, but I got another bold prediction. I think Michael Penix is going to overtake his starter halfway through the season as well because he's been balling out in the preseason so far. Obviously, we didn't see it yesterday; he didn't play, but I do think he's going to do well. Give me the Falcons at 9-8. Panthers, I think they're going to win a few more games, but not much. Give me 5-12. And Saints, they're always kind of mediocre. I don't know what's going to go on with their quarterback situation this year. Maybe Derek Carr will turn it around. I'll have them at, I would say, 7-10.
I like it. I have Atlanta winning the division just solely on the fact that the 2 defensive players that they signed in the past 3 days are both top tier defensive players. They got Judon and Simmons. Come on. That defense is scary, and they already had Jesse Bates at safety. That secondary.
AJ Terrell too.
That secondary is insane.
Yep.
Insane. And they fixed their quarterback situation. Well, for all we know, because Kirko's coming off the injury, Penix rookie, but on pen and paper, they look like they fixed their quarterback situation. Drake London is legit. I'm not falling for it, but Kyle Pitts is a good tight end. Not going to draft him in fantasy.
I probably will. So
not going to do it.
Yep.
I have them winning the division. I think they're an 11-6 team. More likely though 10-7 kind of team. Second place, I do have the Bucs as well. I do also like Baker Mayfield. He's nowhere near as bad as everybody says he was.
I agree.
Cleveland just was not a good environment. It just wasn't it. The wide receivers there. Man, you had Odell's dad posting clips. Come on.
Yep.
You don't need that for a quarterback's mental. But he's on Tampa. He's happy now. They love him there. Baker Mayfield's a dog. He's just a dog as a quarterback. I respect his game. I respect him as a quarterback. I just don't think they're as good defensively as the Falcons are. And so I will give them 9-8 record with the Falcons, either 10-7, 11-6 kind of vibe. And then, I'll go the Saints over the Panthers because the Saints defense is still very good. Offense is a joke, though. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my brother's team. I'm sorry, Owen, if you're listening. But, dude, Derek Carr is not it. He's just – you have no confidence when he plays. You have no he's the guy. He's going to make a play. I've never had that once with Derek Carr watching the Saints, I swear. And then the Panthers, I hope they have a better year than last year. I think Bryce Young deserves, an actual chance at the NFL, not where he's getting, 6 300-pound dudes, on him in pause. At, in, 2 seconds, immediately after the ball is snapped kind of thing.
Yeah.
No line. It's so hard for a quarterback to make plays like that, let alone if you're an undersized quarterback. I'm not saying it's not possible. Look, for example, the Saints had Drew Brees, one of the best of all time, undersized. But he needs time, and you can't have that with a bad line. So I hope they improve that. I hope he has a better season than last year, because honestly, it can't get much worse than that. But it wasn't his fault. I'm not going to sit here and say it was his fault. They were just a bad team.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have them finishing last in their division. I'll go the Saints. 7.
No, I like that. All right, we'll end it off with the NFC West and get into some playoff predictions and some award predictions. NFC West, I think this is pretty easy to say. San Fran's winning that division. I think Ayuk will be signed within the next week. I think Brock Purdy, yeah, he's a check down quarterback, system quarterback, but he's good. I'm going to give him his flowers where flowers are due, all that good stuff. Give me, they're going to be the number one, 13-4. This is going to be tough. Either the Rams or the Seahawks. Give me the Rams. I think Matt Stafford's going to have a good year, but I don't think they're going to get into the playoffs. I'll have them at 9-8. Seahawks, I'll also have them at 9-8. They got a good defense. They got a good offense. I think Geno Smith will have a good year. And then Cardinals, I think they're going to improve. I think that Marvin Harrison draft pick was great. Trey McBride's only going to get better at tight end. Kyler Murray's back. He's not going to be injured. And everybody knows what he can do when he's on his game. I have them finishing 8-9. I have them finishing 8-9, so that's my prediction for that division.
Oh, I totally agree. I think first place is pretty solidified in the division. San Fran is just they're just deep. San Fran is just deep. They have MVP candidates at 3 separate positions on the offense, and Christian McCaffrey is probably, if the MVP wasn't a quarterback award, I would legitimately think that he has a solid chance to win the MVP.
Yep.
Okay, so San Fran, I think, is winning. I'll give them they'll be the same record as Detroit. I'll give them 13-4 as well. Mm-hmm. I think that they're very good. I think both defense, offense are just fantastic. Second place, I do agree with you with the Rams. Mm-hmm. I think Matthew Stafford is very good. Hopefully Cooper Kupp comes back, good to go. Puka Nacua is something special too. The thing with them is they lost their leader on their line. Aaron Donald is gone, and he's Hall of Famer for a reason. People say one of the best defensive players of all time. Some people say the best, and they're more than valid to have that argument. He was spectacular, but their defense we'll have to see. We'll have to see, because on the flip side of that coin is, to me, the Seattle Seahawks, where their offense is more questionable, because I know you said Geno Smith is going to have a breakout year. Mm-hmm. I'll have to see that, because he's a veteran of so long that eventually he can't just hold up that spectacular play that he had 2 seasons ago, because towards the end of last season, he was okay. Just okay. DK Metcalf, awesome. Amazing wide receiver. Tyler Lockett, I don't even know. He's towards the end of his career. He's a real estate agent now. He has side plans, but
they have GSN though.
They do have GSN. Again, a rookie that he was good last year. I want to see this sophomore year.
Yep.
Their defense, I hope, steps up, because Mike McDonald is such a defensive mastermind that he can change the schemes and everything of these defenses, and they have the capability. He can make any players look like superstars just based on the defensive schemes that they run, so they could shut down teams.
Yep.
So I think it's a toss-up between those two for second place, both finishing with a 9-8-ish record, 9-8, 8-9 kind of record. And then I'll have Arizona.
So we ended off on the NFC West. Justin gave his predictions. Now the fun part, we got to predict playoff standings in the NFC. So for me, I got, who is it? San Fran, finishing 13-4. They're the number one. I then got Detroit, 12-5. They're the number 2. I got the Eagles at 3. I said they're going to be 12-5 and 11-6. And then 4, I got the Bucks. My wild card teams, as I said earlier, I got Dallas. Give me them at 5. I got Green Bay at 6. And honestly, I'm going on a limb here because you spoke pretty highly about their defense. I think they're going to get in with a 9-8 record. The Atlanta Falcons at 7.
Oh yeah, you said the Bucks were winning. My bad. That was me who said that. Yeah, okay. So for me, number 1 in the NFC is the San Francisco 49ers. I don't see another way. Although I gave the Detroit Lions the same record as them, I believe San Fran will take it through a tiebreaker. If they match up this year, I think San Fran has the potential to beat Detroit. So I have San Fran at the 1, Detroit at the 2. My 3 is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. My 4 will then be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
My wild card teams will be 5, the Philadelphia Eagles,
Okay.
6, the Green Bay Packers, and
Yep.
then 7, I am going to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7.
So both in you and I are being bold this year, and we think two teams from the NFC South are getting into the
That is
playoffs
my
when it's
bold
normally
prediction.
one.
Is going to be 2 NFC South teams make it in.
I agree. All right, let's do AFC predictions. So like I said at the beginning of this podcast, this is new. We will figure out the technology in the later episodes. Obviously, we're still learning. So right here, as you can see on the screen, this is last year's Super Bowl predictions. So we'll start off with the AFC for me. So I got 1 versus as the Kansas City. Justin's got the 1 as
Houston Texans.
Okay, so then the 2, let's go back to the standings here before I got lost. I had the Texans. So 2 versus 7, I had the Colts. So matchup in the division. Give me the Texans to win that playoff round to make it on to the next round. So we go back to the bracket here, 3 versus 6. Yeah, so I think the best way to do it so we don't forget is I'll just go through mine and then you can go through yours afterwards too.
Yeah.
So 3 versus 6. The 3, I had Justin's Ravens. The 6, I had the Cleveland Browns. So another divisional matchup. Give me the Ravens to win that. I think they're going to do quite well this year. And then lastly, we got the 4 versus the 5 in the AFC. So the 4 versus the 5, I have Bills at 4. And then the 5, I had the Bengals. I'm going to give it to your boys in the AFC North here. I got the Bengals beating the Bills in the first round of the playoffs. So that brings us to the 1 versus the 5, which would be rematch of Chiefs and Bengals, but not this time in the AFC Championship, this time in the divisional. And then I'd have the Texans here versus the Ravens. So a rematch of this year's wild card playoff round, actually. No, divisional, my apologies. I forgot Baltimore had the 1. Shit. I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to beat the Bengals, all this Burrowhead nonsense. I got the Chiefs winning. Yeah, everybody that's probably going to watch this video, which isn't much, is going to say I'm a homer because you can see the Mahomes jersey behind me. I just don't think the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs. They'll beat them in the regular season. That's one of my 5 losses I'm giving to the Chiefs. I think the Bengals will beat the Chiefs there. But in the playoffs, the Chiefs are a different beast. Give me the Chiefs to win that. Then down here, we'd have Ravens and Texans. Honestly, brother, I'm going to give it to your team. I think the Ravens are going to beat the Texans in the divisional. Texans, great team. Ravens, I still think are better, even though the Texans are going to finish with a better record. So I got a rematch. The only difference in the rematch this year is it's an Arrowhead. I don't know who I'd want to pick. And I don't know if the viewers are going to find me a homer. I want to choose the Chiefs, but I do really think if there's any team aside from the Bengals that could beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, it could probably be the Ravens. This one's a toss-up for me, but honestly, I say the Chiefs are just going to go and make it to the Super Bowl final. It's really hard to win an Arrowhead. Everybody knows that. So I got the Chiefs winning. Let's do your AFC before we get into the NFC. So I got the Chiefs representing the AFC in New Orleans this year.
Okay. So my number 1 will be the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs. And my number 7 was the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, correct. So Chiefs, Browns, wild card. Who you got?
So Chiefs, Browns, wild card. I will take the Chiefs, but I think that game would come down to either game-winning field goal, game-winning drive by Patrick Mahomes, or even potentially overtime. The AFC North teams love to bang it out in the playoffs. We don't, man, even like 2 years ago when we had Ty Huntley in at quarterback against the Bengals. That was a close game up until they fumbled at the goal line. But Chiefs win it. Chiefs move on to face the Houston Texans next round. No, sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway. Go on to the next round. Yep. So now you're 3 and you're 6.
So my 3 and my 6 would be the Baltimore Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
I think Baltimore wins that game. I don't want to say easily, but I think our defense is too much for Tua. As long as we can hand off Tyreek when he's on his routes from one player to another, and we can put the pressure on Tua at the same time, I don't think Tua is good enough for these kind of types of games, that hard-nosed defense, like coming at you playoff games. He's big on the September, October in Miami, and this game would take place in Baltimore.
Yeah, cold weather game. Yep.
It's cold. It's going to be cold. I think the Ravens win that one, so the Ravens move on.
And then lastly for you, we'd have your 4 and your 5. I remember you said the Bills were the 4. I just can't remember your 5.
Bills, Bengals.
Oh, same as me? Okay.
Yeah, Bills, Bengals. This is going to be the talked about game of
Yep.
It's going to be a remake of the Bills Chiefs game, but I don't think it's going to have that much to it because that was just like a once in a lifetime kind of thing.
Yeah.
I really think Josh Allen, if this is the matchup, will have the game of his life.
Hopefully.
And will end up beating the Cincinnati Bengals in like a barn burner, like a 30-27, a 7-24, just fantastic quarterback play all around. Joe Burrow's offensive weapons are just clicking. Bills defense makes some plays when they need to at the end of the game, which is why I think the Bills will move on.
Okay.
Both are cold weather teams. Both have no issues playing in the cold. So I think if that's a matchup, first round of the playoffs, that is the matchup. I think
I'd agree.
So we'll go.
You got one would be Texans, then you'd have the Bills winning, so 4, and then you'd have Ravens versus Chiefs, 2 and 3. So 1 versus 4, you would have Texans versus Bills.
Give me Josh Allen, honestly. I swear to God, give me Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen in this game is going to ball out just rolling off what he would have had the week before kind of thing. But I don't know. Yeah, just give me Josh Allen in this one. As much as CJ Stroud and his offensive weapons are like legit, and I feel like Stephon Diggs, if this was a matchup, kind of wants to have that like, you guys shouldn't have let me go kind of thing. But Josh Allen on the other end of that ball is just going to be, we didn't need you, Stephon Diggs. Watch this kind of thing, and I think he wins. I think the Buffalo Bills will be in the AFC Championship this year.
You're making a lot of Bills fans happy right now. And then the matchup that you and I are seeing in the regular season in the playoffs, you got Ravens, Chiefs, and Arrowhead. Who is your prediction?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one, eh?
It's a tough one for multiple reasons. I'm a Ravens fan, so I want to say the Ravens, but I understand how good the Chiefs are, how good Patrick Mahomes is, how good your defense is, like how good Andy Reid is, like how much of a factor Arrowhead is.
You guys are too, though. That's why it's a toss.
Oh, that's like as much as that Bengals Bills game that I mentioned would be a barn burner. This one would just be pure like quarterback and coaching schemes kind of game where it's not going to be a 27-24. It might be a 17, like 14, even like I don't even know if either team would get 20 points kind of thing.
Yeah, like last year.
Yeah, it would be like last year. In my heart, I really want to say Lamar does it. Like, I want to say he does it. I want to say the Ravens beat the Chiefs because I just want him to have that moment in that game because that's the game that, he deserves to be in again. He deserves that second chance to beat you guys in the playoffs. And it would just make it that much sweeter to do it at Arrowhead.
Yeah, since we did it there last year.
All of that being said is you guys are just so good. Like, you guys are just so good. Honestly, I'm going to say the Ravens do it, but obviously I can't be shocked if the Chiefs make it through. And you guys have the best quarterback of the last X amount of years. Some people can say he's not better than Brady just based off accolades, but like eye test, he does some crazy stuff. Like he just makes the right plays. He's just good. Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. But so was Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson isn't like there yet. He can't be there yet. But I want Lamar to do it, so I'm gonna say Lamar is doing it. And then we'll go Ravens, Bills, AFC Championship.
So it's either the Bills make their first Super Bowl since the 90s with you, or the Ravens make their first Super Bowl since 2013. Who do you got?
See, the thing is, I think the Bills would take this one because I feel like if this is the scenario that happens, the Ravens beat the Chiefs and then meet the AFC Championship against the Bills.
I
don't want to say they won't take it as heavily as it is the Chiefs because the Chiefs are like the team to beat kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they may take the foot off the gas just a little bit against the Bills. And you can't do that to a quarterback like Josh Allen because he does make plays. He makes phenomenal plays. But another close game. Honestly, I'll go the Bills. I will go the Bills.
Josh Allen's on some crazy run, eh? Yep. No, Josh Allen is a very good quarterback. I can see him going on a crazy run. Okay, so I got, huh?
I gotta plug my laptop in.
All good. All right, so you got the Bills representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. I got the Chiefs. Let's move on to the NFC. So the one, I had San Fran. You also had San Fran. So we do 2 versus 7. So we both have Detroit. My 7 was the, give me a second here. I know it's NFC South. I had the Falcons.
Yeah.
Honestly, I got the Detroit Lions being the Falcons. Your 2 versus 7 was the Lions versus the Bucks. Who do you got?
I have the Lions being the Bucks. I think the Lions-Falcons would be a much closer game.
Yeah.
I think the Lions could just handle the Bucks. I think they're built for this kind of playoff situation. Not necessarily the Bucks are.
Yep.
I think the Lions are deep enough. They're gritty enough for playoff football. And if Jared Goff gets that pocket protection, he is a good quarterback. Like,
I agree.
He can make plays, not with his legs, but he is just good. He is a good quarterback. So I'll take the Lions in this one.
I agree. So now the 3 versus 6 in the AFC. So I had Lions 2, I had San Fran 1, I had Bucks at 4, so not them. So 3 would have been the Eagles. So then 6 for me would have been the Green Bay Packers. Oh, shit. I never thought I would set up a game like this. Eagles versus Packers for me. I can't be hypocritical. I'm all in on the Eagles this year. Give me the Eagles to beat the Packers. It's going to be a barn burner of a game. I would not be surprised if Jordan Love wins that because he is a stellar talent. But give me the Eagles, and it's going to rely heavily on Saquon Barkley to win them that game. And I think it's going to come down to last-second field goal to win, maybe in overtime. Who knows? So your 3 was the Dallas Cowboys, and your 6 was...
My 6 would be the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, so
my 6 would be the
same type of game. So who do you got, Cowboys or Packers?
I got the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
I have the Green Bay Packers. There's just something about the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if they're cursed. Similarly to that team in blue behind you, I think they're just cursed. I think that there's something in the playoffs that happens when you're the team to beat, like a New York Yankees, Toronto Maple Leafs, like something like along those lines. Teams thrive on the fact that they have the chance to beat you and knock you out just because you wear that jersey. So I think that pressure both gets to Dallas every year, and I think that Green Bay thrives on it.
Yep.
I think they go in there, they love that underdog mentality. Jordan Love loves it. He, no pun intended there, but he is. I think he thrives in those kind of situations too. He wants that. He wants to be the underdog. He wants people to say like, "Oh, this is Dallas's year." He wants to be the one to say, "No, it's not. Watch this again." I think Green Bay takes it.
No, I think you're right with that. So the last would be 4 versus 5. My 4 was the Bucks. My 5 was the Cowboys. I got the same thing happening this year. I got the Bucks beating the Cow. Oh no, sorry, Bucks beat the Eagles this year. I got the Bucks winning against the Cowboys. Very much the same reason as you. People thrive on beating them in the playoffs. I think they're a fantastic team. Don't think they really perform in the playoffs as we saw against the Packers this past year and many years past against San Fran, so on and so forth. I got the Bucks pulling off a bit of an upset. Your 4 would have been the Falcons, and your 5 would have been the Eagles.
Honestly, I'm saying both NFC East teams are out in round 1. I think the Atlanta Falcons take this game. I think their defensive pieces, this is the type of game that they're built for, where they have the Matthew Judon to pressure Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, and then they got that two-headed monster in their secondary there now, where he's going to throw that ball, he's going to get picked off, and they have the capability to run it back far enough down the field where the offense doesn't need to perform to their best to get points. Not necessarily touchdown, but points. I think it's going to be very hard for Jalen Hurts to make plays in this game. I think I think the Falcons only have to do minimal on offense, just like, I don't want to say they're going to check down all game kind of thing, like stuff like that, but like Dink and Dak plays down the field, they could field goal them to death in this kind of game where they're going to rely on their defense, and I think their defense will do it. I think Atlanta could beat Philly.
Good. I like that. So my 1 and your 1 was San Fran. So I have San Fran versus the Bucks, 1 versus 4. Give me San Fran. I don't think the Bucks are going to win that. That's pretty straightforward. Your 1 was San Fran. And who'd you have moving on again? The Falcons at 4. So you have San Fran versus Atlanta.
I think because I think I would have had Green.
Yeah, you do have Green Bay.
Yeah,
you did have Green Bay. Okay, so you have San Fran versus Green Bay, a rematch from last year.
Yeah, I think San Fran's taking this one. I think I just can't see San Fran losing before the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, me too. Pretty straightforward. Then my 2 versus 3, I got Detroit versus Philly. Honestly, I said I was all high on the Eagles, but I'm even higher on the Lions. Give me the Lions to play in a rematch of the NFC Championship against San Fran, basically on Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Laporta, I think they're going to make it to the NFC Championship again. And then for you, who did you have again?
It would be Detroit versus Atlanta, I believe, in this one.
Yeah, so 2 versus 4.
This one, it's going to be, I think Detroit wins this one.
Yep.
Because they have the capability to, like, Jared Goff has the capability to make these throws. I have yet to see it in Jalen Hurts, which is why I'm not using Jalen Hurts. But Jared Goff has the capability to make these throws. They have the offensive weapons and the offensive line to give them enough time to set up plays that can carve up this Atlanta defense. And I say carve up, but like quotations carve up. Like it's more like 6-7 yard plays to continuously get first downs.
Yep.
And I think that this one is a win by field goal game. I think Detroit takes it right at the end of the game. Kicker from the 35-yard line, 45-yard kick right down the pipe. See you in San Francisco.
All right. So San Fran, Detroit, both of us. I'm going to keep it simple. San Fran's run is done. Give me Detroit to make it to the Super Bowl. They should have been there last year, but it was some pretty boneheaded calls that cost them the NFC Championship. But everybody knows that's how Dan Campbell likes to play. I'm not going to give him a hard time for that. They did that all season. He stuck with it. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. I think they'll make it there this year. What about you?
As much as I want to agree with that, I think San Francisco has the blood boiling inside of them, being beaten by the Kansas City Chiefs 2 times in the past, 4 years is it, in the Super Bowl?
Yep.
They have that in them. I feel like once they get to that NFC Championship game, and I feel like that is inevitable, that they make it to the NFC Championship, I feel like once they get there, there's nothing in their way stopping them winning the Super Bowl, because I just think that they're so deep. They're so good. They have top to bottom, just like all-star caliber players. I don't think there's a team that can get in their way. I do think Detroit will put up a fight for the first little bit there.
Yeah.
But then in the second half, I think San Fran is just going to take over. I think their defense is going to take over. So I have San Fran going to the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills.
All right, so we'll continue it with you. Bills, San Fran. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl in New Orleans? And why is that?
I think as much as Josh Allen is spectacular, making all these plays, I think from what I've said, I think he's going to go on a crazy run kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It stops here. Like I said in the last one, San Fran is just their only mindset is Super Bowl. That's it. Their defense is so good that Josh Allen will have no choice but to second guess what he's going to do as the play is happening. So if he decides to run, he's going to get met. They have 2 terrific linebackers that will get him. They will stop that run immediately. And then if he tries to throw, their secondary is just deep too, man. Like San Francisco, in my opinion, has the best roster in the NFL, top to bottom, both defense, offense. You can make the argument there's a couple teams out there, but I just think San Fran, they've been together long enough as well, too, that, I don't know, I think that this is it. I think Super Bowl or bust for San Fran this year. This is also
finally get it done.
There's an asterisk here. If Brandon Ayuk is not a San Francisco 49er, this changes a lot.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's a deep threat. That obviously Debo's fantastic. George Kittle's fantastic. Purdy's fantastic. Christian McCaffrey's fantastic, but Ayuk is a key piece of that offense that if he's gone, then they've lost something, and they're going to change their offense up a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, Detroit versus Kansas City.
Just say it. Go ahead.
No, honest. Oh, no. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Yeah, my computer screen just shut off. Well, anyways, if you can still see me on the camera, I will continue going here. I'm honestly going to say Detroit wins the Super Bowl. They're going to do it for the city of Detroit and stop Kansas City short of winning the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on that?
There's both. If it's Kansas City versus Dallas in the Super Bowl,
Yep.
I wouldn't have any cards in the play. I wouldn't have any chips in the hand kind of thing. I would just be there enjoying the Super Bowl. Either way, I'd be happy with the outcome. A three-peat is unreal. A three-peat is fantastic. But like you said, the city of Detroit deserves it. The way that they've dealt with 0-16, they've dealt with just mediocrity for the past 10 years up until 3-4 years, not even 4, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago. They started off pretty weak and ended up finishing that season 9-8, and it was between them and Green Bay to get into the Super Bowl.
So you could see not
playoffs, yeah.
So they deserve it. They just had the draft, and man, did their fans ever show out? They had a crazy amount of people there. The city of Detroit deserves something like that because they're not going to get it from their other 3 major sports teams. Yeah. I am a Red Wings fan too, but it's just not happening.
Yeah.
So the city of Detroit deserves it. A three-peat would be so cool to see.
Yeah.
Either way, I'd be happy. You know what? Just solely on the fact that I'm still a little spiteful, I'm going to take Detroit winning the Super Bowl because I'd rather see Kansas City lose than I would rather see Detroit lose.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to see a three-peat, but obviously Chiefs fans, myself included, we've been blessed over the last couple of years. I don't think they're done winning Super Bowls. I think they're going to win a couple more. As long as Pat Mahomes is in the league, they're going to be a good team. But I do think Detroit's going to do it just based off the fact that they beat them last year in game 1 of the regular season. They obviously have Kansas City figured out. I think they'll come out pedal to the floor, just taking it to Kansas City. I think it's going to be a barn burner like a couple of years ago when the Eagles played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was just all offense, just a great game. I think it'll be that, and I think the three-peat will be stopped short because it'll be a ballsy play called by Dan Campbell. Remember in week 1 of 2023, they called a fake punt in their own end on Kansas City, and it worked. I think it's going to be something like that just changes the game and wins them the Super Bowl. Also, so there's our predictions.
I do think Dan Campbell deserves a Super Bowl. I like him a lot as a head coach, and I think his players think that he deserves a Super Bowl just as much as they deserve a Super Bowl kind of thing. Yep. They'll run through a wall for that guy, so I think that he deserves it as well.
I agree. So we'll keep this last segment here quick, and then we're going to end off our first podcast. Let's get rid of division standings here. All right, so these are last year's NFL winners. Who do you think is winning MVP and why?
See, I think it's been, from what I've said up until this point, I think Josh Allen is going to be the league's MVP. I think the fact that there is no Stephon Diggs and there's no other big name on offense, you're really going to see just how valuable Josh Allen is as a player and as a quarterback. I think he makes play. Granted, he turns the ball over a little bit too much, but that comes with the territory of having to constantly make these kind of plays.
And being a gunslinger, too, which he is a gunslinger.
Top 2 arm in the league. Him and Mahomes can just air that thing out like it's nothing. And, I appreciate a solid dual threat quarterback. I have Lamar Jackson on my team. I'm truly blessed to have him. But I think this is the year that with no other offensive piece, a big name offensive piece like a Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen is going to show no, I'm the valuable one on this team. You're going to show me this. And if they win their division, I think it's a lock. I think Josh Allen's the MVP.
I agree. I'll keep it simple. I think Josh Allen wins the MVP this year too. I think he's going to be on a different world just because, like you said, no big name talent. I think Keon Coleman's going to have a great year. I think Khalil Shakir is going to have a great year. I think James Cook's going to have a great year. But that team rides or dies with Josh Allen. I think he wins MVP and puts up some absurd numbers this year. Oh boy, Offensive Player of the Year. Who do you got?
It's hard to not give it to CMC, right? Like, if he stays healthy and just does the same thing he did last year, how could you not give it to someone who just does that? He is, I don't want to say he is that offense because of how many pieces that they have.
Yep.
But God, he does everything offensively. He catches, runs. He can block a little bit too. I can't not give him Offensive Player of the Year. I'm going to throw in just like a potential Offensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill as my, I think it's Christian McCaffrey, but if you don't want to hear Christian McCaffrey, my guess is Tyreek Hill.
So no Madden curse then?
No Madden curse. I don't believe
I don't believe in that either. For me, I don't think it's going to be CMC. I think Tyreek Hill. I agree with you there. I got him winning Offensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to have an otherworldly season once again with Tua tossing him the pill. Just how fast he is. I honestly think Tyreek's got this one locked up. Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got?
Ooh, you know what? You want an interesting one? Sure. I will give you Kyle Hamilton of the Baltimore Ravens as my defensive player.
People are thinking that.
I think he is about to have one of those seasons where it's like, I can't believe that the Ravens got somebody like this again. I think he's a utility piece on the defensive line. He's big enough to play on the line. He's quick enough to play in the back. And he's agile enough to cover number one wide receivers. Mm-hmm. He did try and cover Travis Kelce in the AFC Championship. Travis Kelce's a big boy, and Travis Kelce's Travis Kelce. Come on. Be real. Yep. You're going to get scored on by Travis Kelce if you're covering him all the time.
Yep.
But this is going to be year 3. Only year 3, and he only has gotten better and better and better. I think my ball or rabbit in the hat, if I'm right, I'm so happy because he's a Raven, is Kyle Hamilton. I think he could be the Defensive Player of the Year. I think he has that kind of capability.
I'm going off the board here too, but not too off the board. Give me Mad Max. I think Max Crosby's winning Defensive Player of the Year. That guy is a freaking wrecking ball. He loves sacking the quarterback. The way he just gets around pressure. They try double teaming him, triple teaming him, so on and so forth. And he just gets to the quarterback. And one thing you and I never brought up, they signed Christian Wilkins this offseason on the other end.
Mm-hmm. He's so less pressure on him.
Yep, there's going to be less pressure on Max. People are going to be trying to double team Christian. I think that means Max is going to get more sacks. Give me Mad Max to win Defensive Player of the Year.
That was a good
pick. All right, Coach of the Year.
I'm not even that knowledgeable on coaches. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think who's the Atlanta Falcons coach? I think whoever the coach of the Atlanta Falcons is, that is going to be my pick.
Yeah, Raheem Morris, new coach.
I think he is going to be the Coach of the Year. I think they have a good roster, but you need a good coach to get that roster gelling, to get the boys in the locker room together while in the locker room and on the field. I think the Atlanta Falcons coach is going to get it. Granted, again, I don't know coaches like that. I know big names, but that's my guess, just based solely on the team last year versus what I think they could be this year.
Yep.
And I think that a big part of that is the coach. Didn't know who it was, but I think whoever it is, if they do a good enough job, it's him.
Yep. I'm going to keep it simple. I think he got snubbed last year. Give me Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year. Also because I got the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl. I know the awards are given out before the Super Bowl, a couple of days before that. But I just think that all of the accolades that the Detroit Lions are starting to gain now is well-deserved, and it's a lot because of him, not just the players on that team. He is a great coach. Players would run through the wall for him. Heck, I'd even run through the wall for that guy, listening to some of his pre-game speeches. So I'm going to say Dan Campbell should have won it last year. Let's skip Assistant Coach of the Year because no one knows those guys. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay, are we just going to say Caleb Williams? Is it just
going to... You can. I got Jaden Daniels.
Okay, so there you go. I think it's going to be Caleb Williams because I feel like if they have a close enough season to one another based off the name Caleb Williams, he's going to get it over Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is in my potential for offensive rookie of the year too. Another one, I'm going to throw it in there, is the wide receiver on the Chicago Bears, a former Washington Husky, Rome Odunze.
Yep.
I think him and Caleb Williams, if they have that connection, it's going to be hard not to give it to Caleb Williams if they're both good enough.
Yep.
But I would really like to see Rome Odunze have a fantastic season. So he's my risky pick. But my safe pick, the offensive rookie of the year, is going to be Caleb Williams. For
me, Jaden Daniels, because the Commanders were 4-13 last year. I can't remember the Chicago Bears record. Let me check. 2013. All right, so we are looking at the National Football Conference. So the Bears were 7-10, and you look at the Commanders, they're 4-13. Yeah. I have the projection of the Commanders finishing 8-9 this year, so that's 4 more wins on the season, and I really believe that's solely going to be because of Jaden Daniels, because, I mean, they picked up Eckler and a few other older vets. I don't really see them doing too much. I think Jaden Daniels is going to put the team on his back, kind of like an RG3 scenario from a long time ago where he just carried them. I think Jaden Daniels does the exact same thing. Defensive rookie of the year. Not going to lie, there wasn't a lot of defensive rookies drafted pretty high up in the draft, so I'm kind of unfamiliar with some of them are coming in.
Nate Wiggins.
Yeah, I could see Nate Wiggins. He could be pretty good. Or I could see Kingsley Suamata as well.
Yeah, again, I'm not knowledgeable on the defense. Like you said, the defensive players that came in. It was a big year for offensive players in the NFL, but that makes it even more special that these defensive players, in comparison to the offensive rookie where, like, Caleb Williams has his name on the trophy already kind of thing, everybody else has to take it from him at this moment.
Yep.
The defensive players, I don't know who would have their hands on the trophy at the moment, so it's anybody's game. So that's going to make it interesting. Who's going to step up and stand out to be the guy to come? I'm him. I'm here. I'm the defensive rookie of the year. I'm curious to see how that goes. I would like to see Nate Wiggins. That would mean it's a sweep for the defensive awards to the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. But again, it's Baltimore. Defense is like in the name. So it wouldn't be too surprising. But Nate Wiggins is my guess for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I appreciate that. Comeback Player of the Year. I think this is pretty easy to pick if he has a good season.
Comeback Player of the Year. Oh, you're saying Joe Burrow?
Nope. Aaron Rodgers. Remember, he only played 4 snaps before he got injured, was gone all season. If he can bring the Jets to a winning record, throw for 4,000 yards, bunch of TDs. I think Aaron Rodgers has got that in the bag.
I think that's a lock too. I totally agree. I kind of forgot about that last year because of how little he played.
Yep.
So no, fair enough. Aaron Rodgers is definitely. I agree, 100%.
And then no awards, but just 2 predictions. Biggest bust of the year, player-wise. Who do you think is not going to have a good season that you believe all the pundits believe they are going to have a good season?
Is this rookie bust or just like player bust?
Player bust, rookie bust, whatever you want.
My player busts for the season. Ooh, let me think on that one. My player busts of the season. I don't want to sound like a hater. I really don't. But it's going to be Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen, I think, is going to be, I don't want to say exposed either. I feel like I'm sounding like a hater because I loved Patrick Queen. And I wish about the best for him. But I think he's going to be exposed this year because last year Roquan was our guy. He ran linebackers, and Patrick Queen was 1B. I don't know if Roquan has the capability. PQ has the capability to be the guy, the linebacker on the team. I hope he does, but that's my prediction. I think he's going to be quote-unquote bust, where you're expecting him to come in to be run the defense, run the linebackers. You want him to do that kind of thing. I don't think he will. And especially on a team like the Steelers, who, again, AFC North, defense, it will stand out.
Yeah.
So Patrick Queen, as much as I don't want to say it, he is my prediction.
Mine, same reason as you. They're expecting quite a bit from him, is Keenan Allen. I think we talked about it earlier when you said you think Rome Odunze might have his name in the hat for Offensive Player of the Year. I think Caleb Williams is going to trust people like DJ Moore, because we saw the connection between Justin Fields and DJ Moore last year. I think Caleb Williams and DJ Moore are going to have a great season, and I think Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams are going to have a great season as well. So I don't think Keenan Allen's going to get the ball as much as he wants.
Yep. No, I agree. That's a good pick too. 100%.
And anybody that you think is going to break out this year. Could be a rookie, could be a other offensive player.
Oh, my breakout player of this year is Zamir White, the running back on the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he's going to be a top 5 fantasy running back.
Yep.
But I'm just speaking from a fantasy perspective for that. But on the actual football side of it, non-fantasy wise, I think he's going to make plays that are just going to be where did this guy come from kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be hunted by these top teams after next year kind of thing. I think Zamir White is going to be my breakout player of the year.
I'm going to go off the board here, but it is a quarterback. Give me Will Levis. I think Will Levis is going to have a pretty good season. I mean, he's got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley didn't really do much on the Jags, but he's got Calvin Ridley now. He's still got D-Hop, who's injured. And Will Levis showed some flashes of stardom last year, although his sample size was small. I think Will Levis is going to have a great season, but the Titans still won't get into the playoffs. So
that was a good pick.
I believe so. Anyways, we're going to end it off on here. So been always wanting to say this: like, subscribe, hit the bell. If there's any suggestions, you have stuff that you want us to talk about in the upcoming videos, we will take care of that. But as of now, we're going to probably be focusing on NFL until the hockey season starts. Then we'll start talking about that too. Maybe next episode we'll talk about fantasy because we both have our drafts upcoming soon. So
yeah, we would love to talk about that.
Thanks for watching, and see you guys in a week or so.
Take care.